Let me ask you a question. Why are some people paid $1,000 an hour while others struggle to make minimum wage? Is it luck? Circumstances? The economy? No. The answer is value. Those who make more have found ways to become more valuable in the marketplace. And that's what I want to help you do today. The good news is that it doesn't matter where you start. I grew up on an Idaho farm. We didn't have running water until I was quite grown. My father never made more than $6,000 in a year. But the principles I'm about to share with you transform my life, and they can transform yours too if you'll apply them. Now, let's get started with the first way to become more valuable and wealthy. Personal development is the first and most essential key to creating wealth. You must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Most people have that backwards. They work hard on their job but invest little in themselves. I'm telling you, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. I remember when I met my mentor, Earl Shoaf, he asked me, Jim, how much money have you set aside for your education this year? I said, well, none, really? And he said, that's why you're broke. You're spending everything on your living and nothing on your learning. That day changed my life. You see, your income rarely exceeds your personal development. Oh, you might get lucky for a while. But sustainable wealth comes from continual growth. Read the books, attend the seminars, listen to the audios, take the classes, be around successful people, absorb their philosophy, study their strategies. I used to tell my audiences, don't let a day go by without investing in your mind. 30 minutes of reading can change your whole life. I read the Bible for enlightenment. I read business books for strategy. I read biographies for inspiration. And I'm telling you, the person who doesn't read is no better off than the person who can't read. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development, because success is something you attract by the person you become. So work harder on yourself than you do on anything else. The second way to become more valuable and wealthy is to set specific, measurable goals. Now, I know you've heard this before, but are you doing it? Most people have vague wishes, not concrete goals. There's a world of difference. When I ask people what they want, they often say, well, you know, to be happy, to make more money, to have a nice family. That's not good enough. Fuzzy goals produce fuzzy results. You need specific targets with deadlines. Don't just say, I want to make more money. Say, I will increase my income by 20% in the next 12 months by acquiring these 3 specific skills and providing more value to my company or clients. I once had a young man come to me and say, Mr. Rohn, I'd really like to make a lot of money someday. I asked him, how much is a lot? He hadn't thought about it. I said, would $100,000 a year be a lot? He said, yes, that would be fantastic. I said, when would you like to achieve that by? He'd never considered a deadline. You see the problem? Goals give you direction. They turn your lights on. They give you something to move toward. Without them, you're just drifting. And let me tell you something, no one ever wrote down a goal they wanted to fail at. The very act of setting a goal starts you on the path to achievement. Write your goals down, not on a computer, on paper. There's something magical about putting pen to paper. Review them daily. Keep them in front of you. A goal that's out of sight quickly becomes out of mind. And remember, goals aren't just about wealth. Set goals for your health, your relationships, your spiritual life, your contribution to others. The third way to become more valuable and wealthy is to understand and implement the law of sowing and reaping. This is one of the most fundamental laws in the universe, yet so few people truly understand it. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. Not sometimes, not usually, always. If you sow excuses, you will reap failure. If you sow discipline, you will reap achievement. If you sow value to others, you will reap wealth in return. It's that simple and that profound. Now, here's what most people don't understand about this law. There's a time delay between sowing and reaping. You don't plant an apple seed and get an apple the next day. It takes time, care, and patience. The same is true in your life and career. I tell people all the time, you can't go to the farm in July and say, where is it? I was here in April. I did the planting. Where's my crop? The farmer will say, be patient. It's coming. And so it is with the seeds of discipline and value you plant today. The harvest is coming, but it rarely comes overnight. This is why so many people fail. They plant a few seeds of effort, then get frustrated when they don't see immediate results. They quit just before the harvest was due. Don't make that mistake. Be patient. Be persistent. Keep sowing, and the reaping will come in its season. And here's another key. You reap more than you sow. One corn seed produces multiple ears of corn with hundreds of kernels. That's the miracle of leverage. The efforts you make today can yield returns many times greater than your investment. But you must first sow. You must put something in before you can get anything out there. The fourth way to become more valuable and wealthy is to master the art of effective communication. Your ability to clearly express your ideas, to persuade, and to inspire, these are priceless skills in any marketplace. I've known brilliant people who remained poor because they couldn't communicate their value. And I've known people of average intelligence who became wealthy beyond measure because they developed exceptional communication skills. Communication isn't just talking, it's connecting. It's understanding before seeking to be understood. It's asking good questions and listening intently to the answers. It's being able to articulate your thoughts in a way that moves people to action. Learn to write well. Learn to speak well. Learn to present your ideas with clarity and conviction. These skills will set you apart in any field. They'll make you more valuable to your company, your clients, your colleagues. I remember when I first started giving talks, I was terrible. I stuttered. I forgot my points. I was awkward, but I kept at it. I practiced. I studied great communicators. I accepted every opportunity to speak. And over time, I got better. Eventually, people started paying me to share my ideas. Imagine that. Getting paid for something I once did poorly for free. The fifth way to become more valuable and wealthy is to understand the power of association. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. The people you spend time with shape who you become. If you want to be successful, spend time with successful people. If you want to be wealthy, associate with those who understand wealth creation. Their thinking will begin to rub off on you. Their standards will become your standards. Their habits will influence your habits. I often tell the story of joining a country club I couldn't afford early in my career. I scraped together the membership fee because I knew that's where successful people gathered. I wanted to hear their conversations, observe their behaviors, understand their thinking. Was it uncomfortable at first? Absolutely. Did it stretch me financially? You bet. But the lessons I learned in those environments were priceless. Now, I'm not saying abandon your old friends, but be intentional about expanding your circle to include those who are where you want to be. Join mastermind groups, attend conferences, seek mentors, create environments where you're the least successful person in the room. It will pull you up. Remember this phrase, don't join an easy crowd, go where the expectations and demands are high. That's how you grow. The sixth way to become more valuable and wealthy is to develop specialized knowledge and skills. In today's economy, generalists often struggle while specialists thrive. The more specific and valuable your expertise, the more the marketplace will reward you. What problems can you solve that few others can? What knowledge do you possess that others need? What skills have you mastered that are in high demand? These are the questions that lead to wealth. Now let me be clear, I'm not talking about accumulating random information. We're drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. I'm talking about developing expertise that solves significant problems for others. If you can solve a $100,000 problem, you can certainly charge $10,000 for the solution. If you can solve $1 million problem, you can charge $100,000. That's how value works. The bigger the problem you solve, the more you can charge for the solution. So identify areas where you can develop deep expertise. Study them relentlessly. Practice them consistently. Become the go-to person in that area and watch how your value in the marketplace soars. I know a young man who became an expert in a specific type of software, just one program. He didn't try to master everything. He focused intensely on becoming the best at this one thing. Today, companies fly him around the world and pay him thousands of dollars a day for his expertise. Not because he's the smartest person in the room, but because he developed specialized knowledge that few others have. The seventh way to become more valuable and wealthy is to understand the difference between working for money and having money work for you. Most people work their whole lives for money and never learn to have money work for them. The average person works 40 hours a week for 40 years and retires with very little to show for it. Why? Because they never learned the art of creating assets that produce income without their direct labor. Wealthy people don't just work for money. They build or acquire assets that generate income while they sleep. They understand that true financial freedom doesn't come from a bigger paycheck, but from passive income that exceeds their expenses. This could be through investments in stocks, real estate, businesses, intellectual property. There are many vehicles. The specific vehicle isn't as important as the principle. Your goal should be to shift from trading time for money to owning assets that generate ongoing income. Start small if you must, but start. Save 10% of your income and invest it wisely. Learn about different investment vehicles. Understand the power of compound interest, what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. I remember talking to a janitor once who had diligently saved and invested 10% of his modest income for decades. By retirement, he was worth over $1 million. Meanwhile, I knew doctors and lawyers who earned 5 times what he didn't, but spent everything they made and ended up with nothing. The difference wasn't income, it was financial intelligence and discipline. The 8th way to become more valuable and wealthy is to master the art of selling and persuasion. Now, some of you just cringed when I mentioned selling, but understand this, we are all in sales, whether we recognize it or not. You're selling when you're trying to get your kids to eat their vegetables. You're selling when you're asking for a raise. You're selling when you're persuading someone to accept your idea. Sales is simply the art of persuasion, and it touches every area of our lives. The ability to ethically influence others is one of the highest paid skills in the world. Why? Because those who can sell products, services, ideas drive revenue, and businesses are willing to pay handsomely for that skill. Sales isn't about manipulation. It's about clearly communicating value. It's about helping others see how your product, service, or idea can genuinely improve their lives. When you approach sales with that mindset, as service rather than pressure, everything changes. I've seen countless careers transform when people develop this skill. The shy accountant who learned to confidently present his analyses. The talented graphic designer who learned to articulate the value of her work. The brilliant programmer who learned to sell his software solutions. In each case, their income multiplied when they added selling skills to their technical abilities. Learn to tell compelling stories. Learn to ask powerful questions. Learn to listen for underlying needs. Learn to address objections with grace and clarity. These skills will serve you in every area of life and dramatically increase your value in the marketplace. The 9th way to become more valuable and wealthy is to develop exceptional character and integrity. Now, this might surprise you. You might be thinking, Jim, what does character have to do with wealth? Everything. In the long run, character is the ultimate competitive advantage. People of integrity attract opportunities that aren't available to others. They build trust, and trust is the foundation of all successful business relationships. When people know they can count on your word, when they know you'll deliver on your promises, when they know you'll do the right thing even when it costs you, that reputation becomes an invaluable asset. I've watched many people achieve short-term success through cutting corners, manipulation, or dishonesty. But I've never seen those methods produce sustainable wealth and happiness. Eventually, the house of cards collapses. True wealth, the kind that lasts and brings satisfaction, is built on the foundation of strong character. It comes from providing genuine value, treating others with respect, and operating with unwavering integrity. This doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes. We all do. But people of character acknowledge their errors, make amends, and learn from them. They don't blame, make excuses, or shirk responsibility. Develop disciplines like keeping your word, being punctual, doing more than you're paid for, treating everyone with dignity regardless of their status. These might seem like small things, but they create a reputation that becomes a powerful asset over time. I often tell the story of a young employee who was asked to sweep the store floor. He complained, "I didn't go to college to sweep floors." His manager replied, "The education was to help you think. The sweeping is to help you learn about humility, thoroughness, and serving others." That young man later became one of the most successful executives in the company, in part because he learned that no task is beneath a person of character. And the 10th way to become more valuable and wealthy is to embrace and master the art of serving others. At its core, wealth creation is about solving problems and serving needs. The more people you serve and the better you serve them, the wealthier you'll become. This is the great paradox of wealth. Those who focus exclusively on making money often struggle, while those who focus on creating value and serving others often find money flowing to them in abundance. Ask yourself, how many people do I serve? How well do I serve them? How can I serve more people more effectively? These questions will lead you to greater value and wealth than simply asking, how can I make more money? I remember talking to a business owner who was struggling financially. I asked him why people should do business with him rather than his competitors. He talked about his years of experience, his credentials, his facilities, but he never once mentioned the benefits to his customers. He was focused on himself rather than those he served. Is it any wonder he was struggling? Contrast that with another entrepreneur I met who was obsessed with finding better ways to serve her clients. She constantly asked, what do my customers need? What problems can I solve for them? How can I make their lives better? Her business grew exponentially because she focused on service rather than self-interest. This principle applies whether you're an employee, a business owner, or an investor. The employee who focuses on adding value rather than just collecting a paycheck soon finds herself promoted. The business that focuses on solving customer problems rather than just making sales soon finds itself prospering. The investor who focuses on funding solutions to meaningful problems rather than just seeking returns often ends up with both financial rewards and the satisfaction of making a difference. Now let me tell you something important about these 10 ways to become more valuable and wealthy. They work together. They're not isolated strategies, but an integrated approach to creating lasting success. Personal development leads to better goals, which helps you sow better seeds, which improves your communication, which elevates your associations, and on it goes. And here's the beautiful thing: as you implement these principles, you'll find yourself becoming wealthy in all dimensions of life. Yes, your financial situation will improve, but so will your relationships, your health, your peace of mind, your contribution to others. I want to challenge you to not just hear these ideas, but to apply them. Knowledge isn't power, it's potential power. Applied knowledge is power. Don't be a collector of information. Be an implementer of wisdom. Start today. Don't wait for circumstances to change. Don't wait until you have more time, more money, more support. Start with what you have where you are. Remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Let me share with you what I consider the most tragic situation in life. It's not failing to reach your goals. It's succeeding at the wrong ones. It's climbing the ladder for 40 years only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. It's accumulating wealth at the expense of health and relationships, only to realize too late what really matters. True wealth includes financial abundance, yes, but it also includes vibrant health, loving relationships, peace of mind, continuous growth, and meaningful contribution. That's what I want for you. Not just money, but true prosperity in every dimension of life. I mentioned earlier that value is the key to wealth creation. Let me expand on that because it's so fundamental. The marketplace pays for value. It doesn't pay for time, effort, or good intentions. It pays for value delivered. Think about it. Why does a heart surgeon earn more than a general practitioner? Both are dedicated doctors who went through medical school. But the heart surgeon develops specialized skills that solve more critical problems. The marketplace rewards that additional value. Why does a top salesperson earn more than an average one? Both might work the same hours, make the same number of calls. But the top performer has developed skills, strategies, and relationships that produce better results. The marketplace rewards that additional value. Your income is a direct reflection of the value you bring to the marketplace. Want to increase your income? Increase your value. It's that simple and that challenging. Now, some might say, but Jim, I'm already working hard. I'm already giving my best. And I would say hard work is important, but it's not enough. Digging a ditch with a spoon is hard work, but it's not very valuable. You need to work smart as well as hard. You need to leverage your efforts through systems, through other people, through technology. Others might say, but Jim, the economy is bad. My industry is struggling. My company isn't doing well. And while those challenges are real, remember this: there are people thriving in every economy, in every industry, in every company. The question is, what are they doing differently? How have they made themselves more valuable despite the circumstances? I love what my friend Zig Ziglar used to say: you can get everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. That's the essence of value creation. Find ways to help others achieve their goals, solve their problems, fulfill their dreams, and wealth will naturally flow to you. Now let me address something important. Some people have a negative association with wealth. They believe it's somehow wrong or shallow to desire financial abundance. They've been told that money is the root of all evil. But that's a misquote. The actual statement is that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Money itself is neutral. It's simply a tool. Wealth in the hands of a person with good character becomes a powerful force for good. It provides options. It creates opportunity. It allows you to take care of your family, support causes you believe in, and live with a level of freedom that's simply not possible when you're struggling financially. Don't apologize for wanting to become wealthy. Instead, focus on creating wealth the right way by providing exceptional value and serving others. That kind of wealth creation leaves everyone better off. I want to circle back to something I mentioned earlier about personal development. This really is the foundation of everything else. You probably heard me say, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Let me tell you why that's so important. Your job might change. Your industry might change. The economy might change. But if you've invested in yourself, in developing your mind, your skills, your character, you'll be equipped to succeed regardless of external circumstances. The most valuable asset you'll ever have is yourself. Not your spouse, not your car, not your investment portfolio. You. The knowledge in your mind, the skills in your hands, the wisdom in your decisions, the network you've built, the character you've developed. These are assets that can never be taken from you, that will generate returns for a lifetime. I met a man once who lost everything in a business failure. His money, his home, his possessions all gone. But he said to me, Jim, they couldn't take away what I'd learned. They couldn't take away my skills, my knowledge, my relationships. And with those assets intact, I was able to rebuild everything else. That's the power of personal development. So how do you develop yourself? Let me give you some specific strategies. Read at least 30 minutes every day. Books are treasures. They allow you to absorb in hours what took someone else a lifetime to learn. I often tell people, don't say you don't have time to read. Say you don't value reading enough to make time for it. Be honest about your priorities. Listen to educational content during your commute. The average American spends 500 hours per year in their car. That's the equivalent of 12 40-hour work weeks. Turn your car into a university on wheels. Listen to audiobooks, podcasts, educational programs. Use that time to feed your mind rather than just listening to the same songs over and over. Attend seminars and workshops in your field. Yes, they cost money. Yes, they take time. But the return on that investment can be extraordinary. One idea properly implemented can change your entire future. Find mentors and coaches. Success leaves clues. Find people who have achieved what you want to achieve and learn from them. Some can be distant mentors through their books and programs. Others might be people you can meet with regularly. Either way, don't try to figure everything out on your own. Stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before you. Practice your skills deliberately. Don't just go through the motions. Be intentional about improvement. If you're in sales, practice your presentation. If you're a writer, write daily. If you're a leader, study leadership and apply what you learn. Consistent, deliberate practice is how average becomes excellent. Teach others what you know. There's no better way to deepen your understanding of a subject than to teach it. When you have to articulate your knowledge in a way that others can understand, you discover the gaps in your own understanding. Teaching forces clarity. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest obstacles to creating wealth: fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of criticism. Fear of the unknown. These fears keep so many people from taking the actions that would lead to greater value and wealth. Here's what I've learned about fear. It never goes away completely. Even the most successful people feel fear. The difference is they don't let fear stop them. They feel the fear and take action anyway. Fear is often a signal that you're moving in the right direction, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, that you're growing. The question isn't whether you feel fear, it's what you do when you feel it. I remember being terrified before my first major speech. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. I wanted to run away, but I walked onto that stage anyway. Was it perfect? Far from it. But it was a start. And each time I spoke after that, the fear lessened just a bit, while my skills improved just a bit. Over time, the combination of decreasing fear and increasing skill transforms speaking from a source of terror to a source of joy and income. Whatever you fear doing right now might be exactly what you need to do to move toward greater wealth and fulfillment. Feel the fear, acknowledge it, and then take action despite it. That's how you grow. Another major obstacle to wealth creation is what I call the entitlement mentality. It's the belief that the world owes you something. That success should come easily. That opportunity should fall into your lap. Let me be very clear, the marketplace doesn't care about your needs, your wants, your education, or your good intentions. It cares about one thing: the value you provide. That's it. The entitlement mentality is a prison that keeps many people trapped in mediocrity. They focus on what they think they deserve rather than on what value they're creating. They blame circumstances, the economy, their boss, their upbringing, anything but themselves for their current situation. The antidote to entitlement is responsibility. Taking 100% ownership for your life and your results. Saying, if it's to be, it's up to me. Focusing on what you can control rather than what you can't. I've never met a successful victim. Never. Victims might get sympathy, but they don't get success. They might get attention, but they don't get achievement. They might get excuses, but they don't get excellence. Choose responsibility over victimhood every time. It's harder in the short term, but infinitely more rewarding in the long term. Now, I want to address something that holds many people back from creating greater wealth: limiting beliefs about money. Many of us have unconsciously absorbed negative ideas about wealth that sabotage our efforts to create it. Have you ever caught yourself thinking things like, rich people are greedy. Money corrupts. I don't deserve to be wealthy. Making money is hard. If I get rich, people will just want me for my money. These beliefs act like invisible barriers, preventing you from taking the actions that would lead to greater prosperity. The first step to changing them is to become aware of them. Notice when these thoughts arise. Question them. Ask yourself, is this really true? Who says? Where did I learn this? Is this serving me? Then consciously replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Wealth allows me to make a greater difference. Money is a tool that can be used for tremendous good. I deserve prosperity when I create value for others. Making money can be joyful when aligned with my purpose. Wealth attracts opportunities and relationships that align with the soul. Your beliefs create your reality by influencing your actions. Change your beliefs and you change the trajectory of your life. I want to emphasize something crucial about the journey to greater value and wealth. It's not a straight line. There will be setbacks, there will be failures, there will be times when you question whether it's all worth it. During these moments, remember that failure is not final. It's feedback. It's an opportunity to learn, to adjust, to grow. The most successful people I know have also failed the most. They just didn't stop at failure. They extracted the lesson and kept moving forward. I often tell the story of a young woman who came to one of my seminars completely discouraged. She had started 3 businesses and all had failed. She felt like giving up. I asked her what she had learned from each failure. As she began to list the lessons, her energy shifted. She realized she hadn't failed 3 times. She had received an education that no business school could provide. Armed with those lessons, her 4th business became a remarkable success. Don't fear failure. Fear not learning from failure. Fear staying down when you could get back up. Fear letting temporary setbacks turn into permanent defeat. And remember, this success is never owned. It's rented, and the rent is due every day. The habits, disciplines, and mindsets that got you whatever success you currently enjoy must be maintained and enhanced if you want that success to continue and grow. I see so many people reach a certain level of achievement and then coast. They stop learning. They stop growing. They stop challenging themselves. Inevitably, they stop progressing. Continuous improvement isn't just a business strategy. It's a life strategy. The moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying. There's no maintaining. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. Choose to get better every single day. In closing, let me remind you of something profoundly important. The pursuit of value and wealth isn't just about accumulating money or possessions. It's about becoming more skilled, more knowledgeable, more disciplined, more giving. It's about growing into the person capable of creating and managing wealth. The greatest value of achieving success isn't what you get, but what you become in the process. The disciplines, the character, the wisdom, the relationships, these are the true treasures of the journey. So commit today to these 10 ways of becoming more valuable and wealthy. Invest in yourself. Set clear goals. Understand the law of sowing and reaping. Master communication. Choose your associations wisely. Develop specialized knowledge. Make money work for you. Learn to sell and persuade. Build unshakable character. And above all, serve others with excellence. Do these things not just for the wealth they'll help you create, but for the person they'll help you become. Because in the end, that's what matters most, not what you have, but who you are. Remember, the future belongs to those who create value. Start today. Start where you are. Start with what you have, but your future self will thank you for the seeds you plant today. Thank you for your time and attention. Now go out there and create extraordinary value in the world. The wealth will follow.